Okay, the other night I posted a video about angry thoughts concerning what's going on in America. And a friend of mine made a very good comment on the video. Those of you on Facebook, you can see it. And I hear you, Devin, and I totally agree with everything that you stated. Um, so looking at the angry thought that I posted and think in terms of coins. Coins have two sides, right? So the flip side of that angry thought will kind of bring thought and attention to another area, another aspect of things that feed into what's going on in America. And I'm just going to direct this to parents, us, parents, we parents, all parents. And I think I'm going to be quite blunt when I say this. How our kids act out in public, how they present themselves, primarily falls on us as parents. Whether we correct them or guide them or show them or be an example of what we prefer they be when they grow up. Now, I could be kicking a hornet's nest, stepping into an ant bed with this, but it is what it is. And honestly, I can only speak for myself. I can only speak for my experience and growing up and my experience as a father, raising a young woman and a young man. But my parents, I would say, have the majority to do with how my brothers and I turned out, how we've never found ourselves in such predicaments or situations where we would find ourselves treated as just random thugs. It just didn't happen. How to speak to people out in public, how to treat people while out in public, how to present yourself out in public. These are all things we learned at home from our parents. And from our parents who put us in the best schooling system that they saw fit. And then those teachers in that environment, the community of the church that we attended growing up, all these things were examples for me. I would like to say for my brothers, but then again, my brothers are their own men right now. I can only speak for myself. How to dress, how to talk, how to speak, how to respond, when to respond. All these things are learned starting at home. My friend Andrea Park made a comment, or she posted something on Facebook, and it had to do with someone taking time to teach our young men how to respond to certain situations out in society, out in the world, out in the streets, wherever. How to carry yourself, how to respond to certain things, the rights that you should know that you have. in dealing with some situations that we're seeing on the news today. And from the video I posted, was it Thursday night? Friday night, I'm not sure. It was about the kid in San Francisco that got shot 5 times or so after cops chased him down for not paying his bus fare. Excuse me. Such behavior falls back on parenting. True enough, we have no control over what our kids do when they are outside of that house, at school, out in public, or whatever, depending on their age. Our parents couldn't control everything that we did, and yes, we got into mischief. But one thing that we learned not to do is get unruly or rowdy with adults in the community, outside the community, at school, out in public, at work, wherever. And you certainly didn't get unruly with any authority figures in your life. And definitely not law enforcement. Now, I'm not justifying anything that has been done recently that falls outside of lawful law enforcement. But in every situation, I try to teach my kids this. You have to stop before you start talking about this one and that one and the other one and how it's everybody else's fault. You have to stop, step back, look in the mirror, and examine yourself. And everything that you've done, everything you might have said, that could have played into that situation that you found yourself in. And we have to do that as parents. When my son gets out of line at football practice or in school, I have to correct him. You know, his teachers correct him. I have to correct him. I have to provide whatever necessary discipline he needs to have, or whatever conversation, whatever talk, whatever instruction, whatever advice. I have to do that. But in all of my teaching and advising my kids, the things that stay in my mind and that I'm reminding myself of often are the ways that are in them that come from me. The things that I did at that age or at their ages, the mistakes that I've made, and how in those mistakes, if they were honest mistakes and I know I did wrong and I wanted forgiveness and wanted to just have that second chance and move forward and never make that mistake again, I know what that feels like to desire that. So I have to keep that in mind when I deal with my children. Deal with them accordingly. But it's my responsibility. It's not the school's responsibility to raise my kids, not the daycare's responsibility to raise my kids, not their grandparents' responsibility, not the neighbor's responsibility, not Nintendo's or Sony's responsibility, not the televisions or cables or DirecTV. It's not their responsibility to raise your kids. And it sure as hell ain't the responsibility of their friends to raise them and to teach them concerning the ways of the world and what goes on outside of the house. Now, my friend Devin also posted some scripture in her comment on the video. And these scriptures kind of deal with love. If you think about it, the majority The word itself is about love. But when you think about the scriptures on love and what love is and what it should be and how we should carry it in our hearts for everyone, not just friends and family, but strangers as well. Do you love your children enough to teach them a better way, a right way? You can't just let them grow up willy-nilly and hope for the best, because that path just puts them right in the way of drama, trouble, being harassed, abused, murdered by cops. I saw a video, and there's several videos, oh my God, on the web of our youth just walking around fighting each other. There was a woman on the bench minding her own business, and a group of teenagers walk up, and one of the little girls out of the group walks up and just slaps the lady. And then you've got this group of young girls beating up on this older woman for the hell of it. And it's being videotaped like it is the thing to do. I'm bold enough to say you will never catch my daughter or my son on a video like that. Just randomly starting mess, jumping on people, fighting with people, because they're not raised that way. Now, when I look at kids like this on these videos, the question is, how are they being raised? Are they being raised at all? Do the parents give a damn? Who knows? But there's a lot of growing that needs to take place amongst our community. And I'm talking about black people. There are so many of us that are striving to make things better for our children's futures, to teach them right from wrong, to afford them whatever opportunities they desire, and to make it more possible than impossible. And there's a division, unfortunately. We talk about black and white all the time, but there's a division amongst black people. I'm not going to go into too much detail about that. But from what I've said so far, I'm pretty sure you know where the line is drawn and who's on what side. But back to love. Do you love your children enough to put yourself on the back burner to be sure that they have everything that they need? To know. Do you love them enough to know what they're passionate about, the things that they love to do? Do you know anything about their hearts or what goes on inside their hearts that you could possibly pour into? Or if there's something that needs to be pulled out and exposed, pull it out, expose it, help them to grow with that, or grow from it, or grow into it, or grow beyond it, whatever it is. Whatever it is, any and every parent has the ability to pour into their children's hearts, into their dreams, their desires, their passions. There's no excuse. True, certain activities cost money. But there are ways to draw out passions and pour into passions and not have to spend a dime. There are no excuses when it comes to love and how you love unconditionally. And that's another key, unconditionally. Not about all of us understands what that means. To love unconditionally. I've always thought it was natural that a parent love his or her children unconditionally. But from all these world star hip hop YouTube videos of these youngsters going out doing all this madness, randomness, craziness. Parents, do you know where your kids are at these times these videos are being made? Have you seen them? Do you know what they're doing? If you love them enough and love them the right way, you would know where they are. You would know what they're doing. And if you love them the right way, 9 times out of 10, they would be at home studying, preparing for their next step in life, helping out around the house. Oh yeah, they could be hanging out with friends, but friends that ain't running down the street trying to fight everybody. Madness. And I'm just talking. These are just my thoughts. That's it. They're just my thoughts. But thank you, Devin, for your comment. I appreciate it. I've been meaning to respond to you, but just haven't had the opportunity. So this is my response. I appreciate you. I thank you. I love you. Keep on keeping on doing what you're doing. And I pray that all is well and continues to be well in your life. Good night.